Okay, I think we're live. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to this morning's session with the wonderful artist Mark Titchner. And my ears, my eyes, my hands, my mouth, my nose. Hopefully you were here on Monday, but if you weren't, do check out the recording and you can catch up there. So just before we start, I'm going to hand you over to Phoebe and Mark in a minute. Just to let you know, my name is Lucy. I work for the Trust, and this session is part of the Make for Tomorrow programme, which is our exciting online participatory arts program. So you can come and tap into all the amazing stuff that we've got that's been recorded. So you can watch things retrospectively, but we've got some really exciting events coming up next week as well, and the week after. So for now, for those of you that were here on Monday, and if you're new here today, it's just to say, obviously this project, which is really exciting, it's that like we're all making these self-portraits for our senses, but Mark is going to gather together all of the work that each of us has made and create 2 new artworks out of all of our different components. So that means obviously he needs your work. So up on the screen, Phoebe's just shared with you is our instructions. Now listen, don't worry about trying to jot this down, because I will send you an email this afternoon with this information in it. But essentially, we will send you a stamped and addressed envelope in the post for you to put your artwork into, and then you can pop it in your local post box and it will make its way to Mark. Once Mark's done his thing with the artwork, we will obviously, of course, send your artwork back to you. But yeah, so I've just listed up there the process. But like I say, I'll reiterate this again at the end of the session today. But also don't worry, you will be receiving an email with this information in it. Okay, so that's it for me for now. I'm going to hand you over to Phoebe from Hospital Rooms, and she will get the session with Mark going. All right, enjoy everyone. Thanks.
Hi everyone, thanks so much for joining. So if you were here last time, you were working on the ears, the nose and the eyes, and today's session will be focusing on the mouth and the hands. So I think I'm just going to hand over to Mark straight away, and then we will have a bit more from Lucy later about reiterating how to send your artworks in. But I think let's just get started. So we've got an hour today, and Mark's going to do a few exercises to start, get us sort of loosened up for drawing, and then we'll concentrate on the mouth and the hands. So over to you, Mark.
Hi everyone, good morning. Hope you all had a good week. So yeah, as you know, this is the second of the sessions on this project, My Ears, My Eyes, My Hands, My Mouth, My Nose, which is a drawing project, and we're going to be what we're doing is a kind of group kind of self-portrait. So for each of us, we're going to be spend some time drawing those individual parts of our face and our hands, these kind of parts that connect with our senses. And I'm going to put these together into a kind of publication and hopefully an animation as well. So essentially what we're going to do today is a drawing exercise using whatever materials you have at hand, whether you want to use pencil or felt pen or charcoal, whatever you like, whether it's colour or it's black and white. And the other thing is, whilst we're doing the drawings, I'd like you to have a think about maybe a short piece of writing or a thought that you have which relates to the sense that we're talking about. So for instance, we're going to do hands and mouth today, so maybe it would be something about would be something about touch, or something about speech, or maybe taste. And we can think about those whilst we're doing the 20-minute kind of drawing sessions, and then at the end we'll just jot something down quickly. So to get started, what we're going to do, which is what we did the other day, is do a bit of a kind of loosen up exercise. I'm going to try and make some space. So if you can grab whatever you're going to use to draw with and your paper. Okay, and we're going to just start off by drawing some spirals downwards.
And just to reiterate, everyone who's joined there, you can put any questions or comments or thoughts that you have for Mark in the Q&A box at the bottom. And also this session is being recorded, but only Mark and I are visible and audible. So if you do have any thoughts, we'd really love to hear them. So drop them down.
Yeah, so we've got, I'm doing this backwards from last time. We finished with the spirals last time, so I'm starting with them. So those are going down, and then we're going to do the same thing going across the page. And like I say, this is just really just loosen up our hands and our eyes and our brains, hopefully. Next, we're going to do a row of circles going across the page. And we're going to go back inside and draw a circle inside. And then we're going to do the same again. And the next line we're going to do is exactly the same. We're going to do a row of triangles going across the page. And then we're going to do a smaller one inside. And in that nice triangular space we've got at the top there, we'll do an upside down shape one. And then again, the smaller shape inside. Okay, right, so you can guess which shape we're doing next. We're going to do a row of squares going across. Ooh. And then the same thing, we're going to do another row with smaller, mine are more rectangular than squares, but that's okay. And then the smaller one inside. As all of you here on Monday will know, this isn't my kind of day job drawing, so this is definitely, I'm doing the best I can, as I'm sure you are, but I'm not a drawing expert. So we're going to do some diagonal lines across the page. The drawing I do tends to be inside the computer, so this is very different using a kind of pencil. So, and then we're going to do some diagonals going the opposite direction. Okay, nearly finished. And then some vertical lines, strokes downward. And then just to finish, a couple of rows of horizontal ones. There we go. So I hope that's helped us kind of get ready to do the first of our drawings. So we're going to start today. We're doing we did 3 on Monday. Today we're going to do 2. Part of the reason we're going to do 2 is we're going to start off with hands, which are quite complicated. So I guess there are a number of ways you might want to think about doing this. You also might want to think about what your hand's doing, whether it's like this or whether it's like this, or there's obviously lots of different things, and that you can express something through your hand, the way it looks. So sorry, repeat me.
We just had a question asking, you've probably already explained this, but just asking why you've chosen these features in particular.
Okay, so in total, we're going to have 5 drawings. So on Monday, we started off with eyes, eyes, nose, and mouth. And today we're doing hands and, eyes, nose, and ears. And today we're doing the hands and the mouth. And the reason that I chose these things is that they all connect to the senses. So that each of those is our connection to one of our 5 senses. Mm. And I think the reason for that is because I want the project, I suppose, to be about thinking about how we connect with the outside world. So how we, through our individual senses, connect with each other. And then through the drawings, we're going to connect different people's kind of senses or together. So I hope that makes some sense.
Yeah, that's great.
So yeah, we're going to start with hands, which I think for me, I think it's quite a tricky one. So we're going to give ourselves a bit of time. I'm going to start off in a way that in case I don't get a decent drawing, I'm going to cheat. So this is the way I taught my daughter how to draw hands when she was little. So I'm just going to, this way, if everything else I do is rubbish, I've got one drawing which I can say is of my hand. I'm just going to draw around it. I know that's fairly accurate, and then maybe I'm going to just add in my fingernails, something like my fingernails. I'm not going to add all the bruises and dents in my hand from years of being careless. And as saying the other day, no right or wrong way of doing this. There's not a kind of correct style or way to do this. We want, the drawings really to be your kind of expression, I suppose, of itself, and that when we see them all together, there will be very different drawings. Okay. So there's my cheat attempts at doing my hand, and I'm going to try and I'm going to do one from observation. So I'm going to just hold out my hand, I guess, in front of me like this. I'll try and do it so you can see what I'm doing. I can already tell this isn't going to fit on the page.
So would you say it's better to sort of get the shape first and then do the details afterwards? Is that kind of what you would normally
That's
do?
what my way of doing this is, because if actually a hand is a very complex thing with lots of different kind of lines and muscles and all sorts of stuff going on. So I think to me, I'm kind of thinking about maybe the outside kind of outline. As I say, I've done this in a way which it means they're probably not going to fit on the page, but also, we're kind of we're sort of doing this in quite a tentative way, in that you can kind of, if you're sketching, it doesn't matter if lines go in the wrong place. So it's almost like, imagine just doing what I did before. We're kind of drawing around our hands, but we're doing it without kind of literally putting our hand on it's almost like taking, using the pencil to sort of follow a kind of imaginary line. And my finger's much too short. The other trick, which I remember from when I was at art school, was this idea of, if you kind of squint a bit at your hand, something, you kind of can get rid of like a lot of information. So it's almost like a kind of like abbreviated version. It's like a lot of the details will kind of disappear. I think what we realised the other day when we were doing this is how strange it is as well, spending time kind of focusing on these sort of particular parts of the body which maybe you wouldn't normally spend much of your time looking at. And I guess maybe a hand is something you would maybe be a bit more familiar than looking at your ear, or so maybe that will help us a bit, or help me a bit with my attempt.
It's quite nice it almost is something quite nice about it going off the page. It's almost like reaching for something. beyond the
Yeah,
page.
I'm going to pretend I was thinking, but so I just kind of. The other thing we were thinking about, as I mentioned before, is thinking about maybe a bit of writing. Maybe it's a bit about how your hand looks. I mean, one of the things that we obviously have been thinking a lot about. I mean, is the fact that we maybe don't, touch is something that has changed a lot in our kind of lives. We're not kind of able to touch things in the way that we did. For me, the hands almost is also like for me, it's like a real record, because I think as well, I've got lots of little, and some big cuts and dents in my hand from years. So it feels like it's a sort of record of everything. So also, another thing we were talking about the other day was, if you want to spend the time making one drawing, that's fine, or maybe you want to make a few, in a bit more of a, sorry, let's move that up the page a bit. Let me move that one down, that one up.
Do you know how many times you've drawn your hand, Mark, or have you drawn it a lot before in the past?
Yeah, I can't remember when I would have drawn my hand. It certainly would have been a long time ago. Though weirdly, actually, I do use images of hands quite often in my work. Like, I suppose, like, a lot of my work is to do with language, and I normally use quite a lot of words and text in what I do, and I like the idea of the hand being something which is able to be expressive. So that how there's a kind of whole, I mean, obviously sign language, but in the way that you can tell, you can communicate quite a lot just using hand signals. And I'm not, necessarily talking about rude hand signals or.
And are they your hands that you've used in your work previously, or are they other people's?
Yeah, I can show you. I made a whole load of sculptures years ago, actually, which had casts of my hands in. But they were kind of holding candles. So yeah, actually now, as with these things, I start thinking about it. I think, oh yeah, actually I've done quite obsessed by hands. Doesn't mean I can draw them.
Yeah.
How are we doing for time?
So we've probably got another 10 minutes on the hands. So we could move to another position, or people could go into more detail on.
Yeah, what I'm going to do is maybe try and do a different hand pose in a minute. I just want to try and get these lines in with the fingers.
Someone said that they want to go into more detail on the hand that they drew around, which is.
That's a good way of doing things, because I think if you do that, you know that you've got it kind of accurate, and I think it helps a lot, because just to have somewhere to start. We had this question the other day as well about where do you kind of stop with how much of the wrist is included, as it were. I mean, there's so much detail in the hand, isn't there? It's like when you start kind of zooming in on it, these kind of lines and muscles and all sorts of stuff going on.
It's also the differentiation of the fingers and the thumb that I find sometimes difficult in certain angles. It's hard to sort of make clear what is the thumb, I guess, when you're drawing.
I've got a hole in the end of my first finger at the moment for some reason. Right, so I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to try, that's probably not going to get much better. So I'm going to try a different view of my hand. So I've got, there's the drawn around one. So yeah, that's another good idea, is to go in and work on some detail on those ones. I'm going to try a different kind of view, maybe something. Maybe I'm going to try that kind of, where it's much more like a ball. It's really weird because, like, I find, I don't know, we're obviously all so obsessed with screens, but I've got my hand in front of me. For some reason, I'm looking at it on the screen rather than on both, and it's kind of a different view because the camera's looking at a slightly different place. Stop doing that.
It's almost harder that having the actual thing in front of you than looking at it on the photograph like we were doing last time, or in the mirror. You actually have to sort of consider everything. Someone's just commented that they're using biro now, and they were using pencil last time, and they find biro quite nice for texture, to like scratch into those different things.
That's good. Yeah, I mean, I've ended up just using a pencil because I don't feel kind of, I don't know, like I feel like I'm trying to find my way around a bit, and that I kind of like the idea that you can kind of, you know, like darken stuff up as you go along. Biro is actually really good for that, isn't it? Because you can, if you gradually kind of build up with it.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to know if people are finding this more challenging than the ones we did on Monday, or if this is slightly easier, or which sort of element is more difficult.
I mean, I definitely found the most difficult one on Monday. So I don't know whether that was because it was first, you know, whether you kind of loosen up a little bit or get, you know, a bit better at looking. So that was definitely the hardest one for me. I'm sure I have seen some drawings that people did and of their eyes, and they look really cool. So
yeah, someone just said they found the nose definitely the most difficult of all of them to draw. But you quite like that, Mark, didn't you?
I liked doing the nose. I think I found that the nose and the ear wasn't too bad. It was the eye, which was a bit of a disaster, but you know, that's fine as well. I think with that, yeah, so what have I done here? This isn't right. Yeah, I think some of the drawings I saw were done with kind of marker type pens, which I was really impressed by, because I think you have to be really kind of confident to kind of start, you know, laying down heavy kind of lines. She got a palm reader in as well.
Yeah.
At the same time, not for what I'm doing at this point, but knuckle reader.
Yeah. I guess that's what's interesting about drawing, especially like the hands and the eyes, because they're so much part of your personality, and there's so much difference between everyone's sort of hands and eyes and things like that.
Yeah, kind of. But then also I feel really, I don't know, like I think for me, like my hands are probably more, I feel closer to them than I do to my.
Mm.
How are we doing for time?
We've got about 3 minutes left on this exercise, on the hands, and then we can move on.
So I'm going to try and. Yeah, so the next one we're going to do is the mouth, which I, of course, only realised a few minutes ago that if we're drawing mouths, talking is quite complicated. You might hear a bit less from me, which is fine, absolutely fine. If you have questions, please do put them in the.
I can save up the questions for the end of the exercise, or a break in the middle, so we have some time for your mouth to relax.
So the next, also when we finish this, we're going to just try and see if we can jot something, a thought that maybe we've had. Relating to our hands, or to yeah, a sense of touch. It could be anything. I think like a lot of people have been thinking about things like shaking hands or hugging, or those kind of like things. For what I might write down. So I think I'm probably happiest with that one. That's my. I'm gonna have a little. So I've got these are my notes from last week. So this is the one I had about my eyes, which is I wrote down, I wish that I could see the horizon. And then for the nose, I wrote, I don't miss the smell of other people. And then about the ears, I put, sometimes it seems so silent. So I'm going to just jot something to think about, something to do with touch. I'm thinking about how I've noticed when I watch old films or TV programs that when I see people shaking hands or kind of get, something in me kind of flinches a bit, which is a strange development.
Yeah, I get the same thing when I see people sharing drinks or passing each other things. It's very like, oh, what's happening?
Bad.
Yeah, so I think if everyone's ready, we can move on to looking at the mouth. And this will be more of a silent exercise, but we can store up any questions that you have for the end. Or
well, actually, I mean, I suppose what I could do is I've got a phone here, so I could take a picture, and then shouldn't really do that on camera.
well, I saw that someone just raised their hand, but if you want to pop if you have a question or something, you can just pop it in the Q&A box. You've just had some comments before you start, Mark, just saying, someone just saying they're really enjoying the workshop and can't wait to see how it ends up. So I think they mean the sort of collective self-portrait, which, yeah, it's actually really exciting to think we're all doing this from our own observational drawings, but when they all come together, it will be very different, which would be very interesting.
So what I've done is I took a picture there, so maybe I can talk a bit whilst we're...
Are you going to include your beard in this, Mark?
Maybe. Might try some colour on this one. In a way, this is there's a lot less going on, isn't there, in the mouth? It's just lips. I'm not sure what colour I've got, which is really like the right shade, but
So someone's just said they don't find their mouth very interesting ordinarily, so they've decided to pull a very funny face and are now drawing that the mouth from
I absolutely hear you. I'm just going to do exactly the same thing, because I think it's sort of, when it's just your lips, especially if you've got kind of cracked up old lips like me, it's not very interesting. So I'm going to do another picture. There we go. That's attractive, isn't it?
I love that. It's like you have no top teeth.
Francis Bacon kind of. Wonky my teeth are. You want to do drawings of my fillings?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Someone's just said, I like how Mark has treated, and I think this is a quote, his cracked up old mouth kindly.
Yeah, exactly. So you think I should be more cruel? Don't worry, I can. There's plenty of time for. Yeah, I don't think this is going to be quite so attractive.
How's everyone getting on with this exercise? Is it quite fun to sort of pull these faces and things? Let us know how you're doing.
Yeah, I'm surprised actually. I thought the hands was going to be kind of trickier than the mouth, but I'm finding this quite challenging. I guess what it is that you've got less to kind of work with, so what you kind of draw has to be a bit more kind of accurate or something. Get the filling in there.
Someone's just made a comment that incorporating your tongue is very fun. Such a weird object. Or muscle.
That's definitely, I don't think I've ever drawn my tongue. Time to start.
Yeah. Someone just said they're actually finding the mouth the hardest to draw so far. So it seems very different for everyone. It seems quite, yeah, people get on with different elements more, or features.
Yeah, I think also it's I think it's got something to do with kind of what you're used to looking at in a way. You know, like some
because I guess you said that you find your hand something that you interact with more, and do you think that's because you're a maker, you're an artist? Do you think that's why, or is it something else?
Yeah, probably, yeah. I think, yeah. Or like, I think like, you know, like jobs I've had over the years have always been quite, you know, manual, I suppose, or
And someone's just asking, do you know how the sort of collective self-portrait will work in the end? Do you know, or are you sort of waiting to get everything together to see what that might be like?
yeah, and I think, yes, I am kind of waiting a bit. My thought is that I'll probably gather it in sort of groups. So, you know, put all the mouths together, all the eyes. Cool. So it'll almost be like kind of chapters. So that's my plan. I'm looking forward to seeing what everyone kind of comes up with.
So you've probably got about 5 more minutes, Mark, on that exercise, and then we can maybe start.
Yeah. And we can start again, thinking about things you might write down or might be thinking. So obviously to do with the mouth, it could be something to do with eating, it could be to do with talking, it could be you know, I guess to do with expressing a certain kind of Whereas a slightly less attractive mouth. Or maybe less idealised. Let me see if I've got time to do a really quick one.
We probably have time for another drawing.
Some people are very good at smiling, aren't they? I'm not very good at that.
Mark, someone's just said that they've only drawn one ear and one eye, and is that okay?
Absolutely, yes, yeah, that's absolutely fine. So the drawings will be on pages with other drawings, so there'll be lots of kind of ears from lots of different people on the same page, so absolutely fine just to draw one. How are we doing for time, Phoebe?
I was just going to say, we've got about 5 minutes towards coming to the end of the workshop today. And I know Lucy will want to say a few words to wrap up. So if anyone has any sort of last questions or comments for Mark before we end, and Lucy will be in touch now and over email about how to send the artworks in for the collective self-portrait that Mark's going to put together as an animation or a publication. Yeah. And Mark, sorry, if you want to say a few words about the text part.
Yeah, so just to finish up really, so I want to try and think about writing something down to do with your mouth, whether it's to do with taste or speaking or shouting or I was thinking about how about 2 months, well, maybe I lost track of time, but many months ago, I had a dream about eating sushi, and I couldn't stop thinking about it for ages and ages.
Was that during lockdown?
Yeah, it was definitely during lockdown.
A lockdown sushi dream.
Exactly. But I think I'm going to write about something a bit more, about talking really, but also about not being able to talk. So sometimes when things are a bit frustrated, as they have been a lot recently,
Someone's just said that they've written all their sort of short comments on the same page as their drawings and that they hope that's okay. And I think that's fine, isn't it, Mark?
yeah, absolutely, because all we're going to do is scan them, so when I get them I can kind of visually chop them up and put them on a separate page. I'm not exactly sure until I see what we get how I'm going to lay the text out together, whether it will be handwriting or whether I'll type everything up and put it together, so it's kind of almost like a long poem or something like that. So I have to wait and see.
Great.
That was my comment. So yeah. I think, should we hand over? So we should have now a strange.
Yeah, let's do all of.
I can build a whole face. What's missing? An eye.
Wow, that's amazing.
Kind of face with a hand attached to it. So hopefully we've got something. You guys have got something similar as well, and we're going to have this really interesting kind of group of stuff.
Yeah, that's amazing. So we just got a few comments in. Someone saying thank you so much for such a relaxing and thought-provoking workshop. And another from Jenny just saying that she missed the session on Monday. Where can I find it to catch up, as she didn't sign up for the Monday session on Eventbrite? And I know that Lucy's going to go through that now, but just to say that these sessions are being recorded, so they will be uploaded onto Make Your Mark's YouTube channel, so you can find them there. And then you can catch up on the Monday, the eyes, the ears, and the nose there. So just to say, and a huge thank you to Mark for this brilliant 2-part workshop. It's been really amazing and meditative and just very engrossing to get down and start drawing all these things that you take for granted sometimes. So it was really, really brilliant. Thank you so much, Mark. So Lucy, I'll hand over to you now, if that's okay, for you just to say a few sort of closing comments. There you go.
Thanks, Phoebe. Thanks, Mark. I couldn't agree more. There was a real stillness this morning. It just feels really nice knowing that you're drawing together with somebody else, even though you're drawing things that are of your own, like your own body. But yeah, that was really great. So just in case you missed it at the beginning, Phoebe, would you mind just showing that little instructions about, because obviously Mark is going to collect all of our work up together, so all the different drawings and words. It doesn't matter if they're on the same, it sounds like it doesn't matter if they're on the same pages as your drawings or if they're separate. Now listen, don't worry, what we'll do is, so everyone that's here and everyone also that came on Monday, in case there's a few that couldn't make either session, we're going to send this to you in an email this afternoon, so don't worry about trying to jot it down. But just to reassure you, so what we'll do is, so that Mark can gather together all of the work that each of us have made, we will ask you for your name and your postal address, and then we can send you an envelope in the post which will have a stamp already on it. It'll have the hospital room, so where Phoebe and Mark are, their address already on that envelope, and all you'll need to do is just take all your drawings, make sure you write your name and address on the back of each one, just pop them in that envelope, and then just put it in the post, your nearest post box. So yeah, we'll be sending that information in an email this afternoon, so you've got all the right bits of information there, and the email address and stuff. So don't worry if you're not quite catching it now. And then yeah, and obviously we want to try and do it as quick as possible, so Mark's got plenty of time to gather all this work together and start collating and creating these artworks, which is just so exciting. But yeah, I just want to say thank you everyone who's been part of this. Phoebe is also right, if you missed any of this session, all of this session, or the Monday session, so all of the events, including this project's recordings, these 2 webinars with Mark, are being captured. So captured as you see them, so don't worry, no one can see each other, we can just see Mark and Phoebe and me, and it's going up on the Make Your Mark website and also our YouTube channel. So what I'll do is, in the email this afternoon, I'll put the links for those if you want to revisit these sessions, or indeed share them with anyone else and do little bits over the weekend. But hopefully that makes sense to everyone. And yeah, thank you so much for coming. Thank you so much for being part of this project. I just think it's so exciting. There's something quite magical about the fact that we're all apart, but that Mark is being this sort of pivotal person in the middle, that's meaning that we can all come together and be part of a collaborative shared artwork that he will make, which is really exciting. Yeah, so thanks for being part of it. But yes, do keep an eye on your email inbox this afternoon. But by the end of the day, we'll send this information out how you can share your work. But yeah, thank you so much, Phoebe. Thank you so much, Mark. And everyone, do keep checking our Make Your Mark website to see what else is coming up. We've got some really great events next week, including an In Conversation with the actress Imogen Stubbs, and also an amazing workshop with Lou Stoppard, who is all about the kind of potency of clothes and artists and garments. So that's another really good one. But yeah, go and have a look at the website and you can see what's going on, and if you're free, please do sign up. That'd be great. But thank you. Thanks everyone for being here today, especially you, Mark. That was wonderful.
Lucy, just to say, someone just pointed out that the email is it meant to say Sussex Partnership, but it's missing the A.
Yeah.
But so yes, you are right, Jenny. Thank you for sending that comment in. It's Make Your Mark at Sussex Partnership with an A at NHS UK.
The email that you get will be from that address, so there will be no mistake in it. Apologies, I just did that very quickly this morning, and thank you for people with eagle eyes. I mean, not only am I dyslexic, I'm also not great at typing, so well spotted. But yeah, don't worry, I'll absolutely make sure it's the correct one that you get in the email this afternoon. Thank you.
We just had a few more comments just from Jane saying thank you so much for both the sessions, Mark and everyone. It's been most enjoyable. Where will we be able to see the finished artwork? And the finished artwork will be presented at the Make for Tomorrow Festival Week, which is happening, which is starting on the 9th of November, and Mark's presentation will be on the Wednesday, the 11th. I think that's right, isn't it, Lucy?
Yeah, I mean, we're still finalising the details of that festival week and dates and times, but of course we'll be in touch with all of you. But also just to say that I think it might be a little bit after the festival, but I think hopefully the publication that Mark is talking about as one of these 2 bits of artwork that he's making, we will send to you, because of course it's partly yours, but we will be in touch about those things. But absolutely, in terms of a public sharing, Phoebe's quite right, it'll be during that festival week, possibly Wednesday, but we will confirm times. Don't worry, people, we'll be in touch and let you know.
Wonderful. Fantastic. Well, thank you, everyone. Thanks, Mark. And we look forward to sharing the work with you soon. Okay. Bye, everyone.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.
See you.